Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it's live, and a link in the info box once the video has rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number one, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show, as sharing the show increases the chances of a more diverse panel by increasing the chances of a more live audience. So please share the show. And one last time, if you are new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Arwin, Sleeping Warrior and Ranty. How you doing? Arwin last in, first to say hello. How you doing?
Hello.
Hello, and how you doing, Ranty?
Doing good, thank you.
And Sleeping Warrior, how are you?
Arwin's out of bed early.
Yeah, Arwin's made the show at this ungodly
I
early
literally
hour.
got up 1 minute ago.
Yeah, I believe you.
So do I.
But yeah, I still need to make breakfast, so be back in 5.
Fair enough. Well, you've got Ranty to blame for even this sort of relatively late start because he was out doing a job and asked if I could delay things slightly. So you've got Ranty to thank for you being able to attend at all, Arwin.
Thank you, Ranty, for being late.
No
What I
worries.
think we should do, I think we should give Ranty the mic initially, and I think Ruhif, that guy called Glenn from Australia, he wants to join, but he said to me about 5 minutes ago he needs about 20 minutes, half an hour. So if we let Ranty make a presentation that's in addition to the claim of yesterday.
Oh, I'll save that for later. I'm busy working on something at the minute.
Oh, okay. Well, it's just there might be. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Well, this is where we could do with Glenn being in, but all right, you do what you need to do, and we'll just fill a bit of space. Arwin, have you found any curvature?
Well, there's plenty to talk about, isn't there? So
Yeah.
we don't have
I mean,
to
do
just
you want to? You've
talk
got
about
something
my
else
stuff.
to show, Ranty. You go ahead and show it.
I'm working on a composite that I did last night. Basically, I went a further 7 miles away and was able to capture the same mountains, which look like a similar height. Obviously, I need to work through it and see what I've actually got.
Wait a minute. You're not saying that the Earth might be flat, are you?
No.
Oh, good.
Would I be saying that?
Can't possibly have the Earth being a flat plane.
But like I say, if you give me, I don't know, maybe an hour or so, I might have a bit of a composite ready for you to look at.
Cool.
We had about 3 inches of snow overnight. Woke up this morning, everywhere was blanketed with snow. And then literally the sun's been out all morning and all of it's gone.
Yeah, give it a couple of weeks and it'll be spring, and everyone will forget about the snow, and it'll be like it never happened.
Feels like it'll be in a couple of days. The warmth in the daytime at the moment is lovely.
Yeah, Stephen Chess did a flat Earth weather video yesterday. Well worth checking out. Stephen Chess, if you're interested in the weather.
When have you found
That's
any?
the guy I spoke to, the guy from America, isn't he?
Yeah, he's from England, but he lives in America.
Who?
Stephen Chess.
He's not English. He's American as apple pie. But yeah, he's the guy who phoned into Alex Jones' channel to say, I love all your products, your stuff's great. And by the way, why aren't you researching Flat Earth? And then they cut him off.
Oh, right.
He also debated with Stefan Molyneux, who's a relatively big YouTuber.
I'm pretty sure Stephen Chess is English. We'll have to get that fact checked.
No, fair enough.
If we can't check the fact, we'll make it up. That's what bowlers do with refraction.
We'll put in a deduced ethnicity.
Yeah, we'll give him a deduced nationalism.
That's the one. Nationality. A deduced nationality. Insert horizon line here.
Yeah. That's what my comment was on yesterday's special. Why don't you get Rumpus to put in a deduced flat part, a deduced bottom to the mountains that we can clearly see, that's inconsistent with the shape of the Earth. So we'll just get a deduced horizon again.
Seems like he has done that, going by his comment.
Really?
Yeah. Would you agree, Ranty? That's pretty much what he's done.
Yeah, he thinks he's going. He think he's the flat Earth debunker.
What a moron!
He is. But luckily, other people are. It's not just us that are defending the observations now. It's other people that are helping out. So, I think other people are just realizing that these people are just trolls.
Yeah, and obviously the other thing is that the other side to this is that where we live, it appears to be flat as a pancake. Now, all right, the preconception is that it's a ball, but if you go out there and actually look, you forget about all this like 7/6R for the curve and all that. You just put your camera, point, and see what you think is the furthest away thing that you can see. And then you kind of like zoom in on it a bit more, and then you find that there's something else behind it that you didn't see before. Zoom in a bit more, and there's, oh, look, there's something over there, different corner. And then in the end, you go home and you try and work out what you're looking at, and none of it makes any sense. So you bring it to the debate show, you present it and say, I think I'm looking at this. Anybody tell me that I'm not? And let other people try and see whether it is or not. But it's flat. Where we live, especially in the northwest of England, it's flat. Flat as a pancake. The only thing that stops us from seeing stuff is the opacity of the atmosphere. If it's a clear day, you'll see it. If it's not a clear day, then you won't. Nothing to do with curvature, nothing to do with refraction and bendy light. It's just about how clear a day it is. The clearer the day, you can see further.
I think what's likely to happen probably in a year or so, perhaps, is that they're going to just say, a bit like the Northwest, they're going to say that Northwest of England is flat as a pancake.
Yeah.
A bit like Holland.
But it isn't.
Yeah,
I mean,
a bit like in Kansas.
You're heading towards the highlands, and it's obvious as you do that trip. It is heading towards the highlands and is showing more signs of varied topology. So it's not like Kansas. I mean, England isn't flat, but it is. If you take into account, even if you take into account the topology, which is what we're doing when we're looking up at these mountains and saying, well, these mountains are physically above my location, as you would expect them to be on a flat plane and not, below my feet to any degree. But when you're observing these things, it's useful that we've got these reference points that are higher up. We've had this conversation a few times in terms of the limitation of the down angle when you look out across the horizon. But obviously these mountains aren't on the horizon, they're raising up because they're high. So useful, but by virtue of the fact that the land has got plenty of useful topology that has been designated a foot marker on it, you know what I mean?
I've just got to derail slightly and give a shout out to the Dumpus in chat. I love that troll account. I hope to see more of you. I don't know who you are, but it's funny. And make sure you keep trolling them because they deserve it. We've got a shout out to the Dumpus.
The Dumpus, is that sort of like having a go at the rumpus?
Yeah.
Right.
He's got his picture as well. It's brilliant. In fact, actually, I think what we should all do as a gesture of goodwill is go to his channel and subscribe. So he's got no subs at the minute, right? Everybody subscribe to the Dumpus because it's worth having that. In fact, subscribe and click the bell notification for the Dumpus because it's a great troll account.
That great content producer that's produced, I think, the Dumpus.
Yeah, but we like him though because he trolls them and that they need trolling. We're trying to do our bit and we need our own set of trolls. So shout out to you as well, you in chat.
You and John Watson yesterday were in the chat room after the show finished for probably 5 hours.
Really?
I'd periodically go back and they'd still be in there chit-chatting.
It's all about the chat, Nathan, not bothered about the content. Who cares if it's a ball coming for the chat?
Yeah, but these guys are the great debaters. They'll take on the trolls. So they're like not our team, but, they'll go into any debate and they'll be straight on the trolls. So they'll be sticking up for flat Earth, whatever. So
Glenn McIntosh says, as Al K said, ignoring the hills of Wales, why are the bottom of the turbines hidden by the horizon? Who cares? If we see the hills behind the turbines, they supersede it. I don't care what's going on. It's clearly atmospheric because they're stretching and distorting. Who cares what the turbines are?
Well, no, I
do.
do.
We didn't have the hills of the Wales.
I do. Got to interrupt. Sorry. So, yeah, it's a very, very interesting point, Glenn, because interesting that you've got this perceived curvature in the mid foreground, say, and then in the background you've got these mountains that should be exponentially further round the same curve you think you see in the wind turbines. So it's a useful little debunking, because yeah, you can ignore the land in the background if you want to believe you're on a sphere. We choose not to ignore it because it's obviously and observably flat. Now, if you want to look at that refraction and go, look, there you go, lads, there's your curvature. Oh, right, okay, yeah, well, that would be ignoring the land in the background, unless you're going to try and convince me that the stuff in the background is looming, and then in between us and that looming effect, we have the actual curvature being shown. It's preposterous. It's ludicrous. It simply isn't the case.
And of course, we're talking about observations that where the turbines are like 20 miles away, 30, maybe 30 miles in some cases. Now, if you put that in context with refraction soundly, his observations are at max 16 miles. So what does that tell you about the apparent curvature that you guys believe is true? You guys all worship King Soundly. Okay, fine. You can choose which religion that you choose to engage in. But 16 miles and less isn't really showing the curve if we're seeing turbines at 20 and 30 miles away, which you guys also claim is the curvature, but forget about the mountains in the background or just choose not to address them, because at the end of the day, there's a whole lot of slightly looming, non-standard refraction hyena going on there. For sure, if we're curved in the foreground where the turbines are, which coincidentally are a lot further than Ranty's bridges, then what's going on with the mountains in the background? Obviously, it's not. It's doing that thing that Arwin describes.
Yeah, we've got Al K with the exact answer. Optical illusions that lower objects physically. Yeah, they're physically lowering, aren't they? Yeah, that's what's happening, Al K. They're physically being dropped.
Yeah, physically lowering stuff that we know can't move physically. Nope. No, they're not physically moving, are they, Al? I don't think you meant the word physically there, but you did put it.
Yeah, it's a useful image to have refraction soundly's refraction going on in the band where you'd expect the refraction to occur, and then stuff beyond it that you can see its expected altitude on a flat plane. I mean, no doubt whatsoever that if it were modelled, you'd draw a straight line of sight to the top of those mountains and they'd be exactly where you'd expect them to be, because the Earth is consistently flat. It's not going to suddenly turn into a curve when we move over to France. That's not going to happen. It's not just flat locally. That's rubbish.
Nick with Noel says, don't you guys understand the turbine should be fully there on your model? Do you want to dispute what there means? Well, let's dispute what the evidence shows. The turbines are clearly distorted, stretched, and totally out of skew with what they actually look like. So the claim is that they should be fully there, but we see the effects of atmospheric refraction, which is not the atmospheric refraction that you guys believe. It's the refraction that we see, which is stretching and shrinking like skunk beg. It appears that that band that sits at a certain distance away is particularly prone to it. Why? I don't know. But it appears to be moving and stretching and distorting, and that's the answer. That is the evidence we see. That's the only interpretation you can reasonably and logically come to, because the mountains in the background still appear to be there. They've not bent around no curve, have they?
I mean, that's what the globers need to understand immediately, that beyond the horizon, it's all refraction in your model. It's all looming and all requires an arc calculation performing on it to tell us where it is, because you automatically assume that light's bending around the curve of the Earth. So you've got an automatic assumption that that's what's actually occurring. Without any proof, without anything, you just assume that it naturally does this, which obviously assumes naturally that you've got a sphere, which you're trying to prove with this refraction. It's circular reasoning to apply refraction to bend light around a curve, and then use it as in any way, shape or form proof of that curvature. It's a ridiculous starting point.
Yeah. And technically, like, the curvature should actually start sooner than that point. What do you think about it?
The curvature or the obstruction, because at the moment all we're talking about, Arwin, is actual obstruction. So
yeah. No, the theoretical curvature, and Glober's always saying that the slant and the refraction zone, that is proof of the curvature. Well, it starts off too far away. if it's actually consistent, literal, physical curvature, then it should start a lot closer to you. Should
the
be observable with the naked eye very easily.
The other thing, Arwin, is that if a glober's going to expect me to believe that the wind turbines are demonstrating the obstruction that is by nature curvature obstructing our view, then at that distance, 20 to 30 miles, we've easily got enough left to right pan in the photograph to demonstrate the same curvature at similar distances. But there is none. So it's only ever obstruction that we seem to be looking at. Obstruction that actually does... Sorry, probably my kid climbing all over me, I'm really sorry. But that obstruction is all we ever measure, because it's the only thing they need to ever measure and need to account for. Everything else is straight lines. When they're looking left and right, they don't need to take these refraction calculations into consideration. You know, the rumpus will just do his per pixel measurement from left to right and then talk all about this obstruction we're seeing front to back. It's like, well, no, if you're going to tell me these wind turbines have dropped by, you know, a significant amount because of curvature, you show me where the curvature applies in the left and right of image if we've got similar distances to look at. And there is none. So you can't tell me that there's obstruction by curvature but no visible curvature in the image. It's nonsense.
Yep.
I want to share a moment in a sec. I have a local, my local rag, or one of the local papers that I have, is known as the Liverpool Echo. And obviously it's the afternoon paper that everybody gets. And I saw an article that was flat Earth related. I'm just going to try and find it and then share it with you because it's interesting. So I'll give a shout out to whoever's done it because I'm sure there's somebody there. And anyway, I'll come back to you in a sec when I find it.
Well, I mean, you're sounding like you're going to encourage the person that's graffitied. I don't encourage this at all.
No, I'm condoning it. I think that a bit of harmless graffiti in this instance is acceptable.
Well, I don't. So, but you feel free to show it. You know, obviously now we're chatting about it. It's fair use and all that. So yeah, I mean, if you want to bring it up again, great. But I don't like it. I just think it's a. There are better ways to communicate your message than scrawling it on a wall and just making the wall look ugly with your message. You know, it just makes the message ugly in my view.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
You know, research flat Earth on the side of a rocket, having been sponsored by and paid for by a load of flat earthers who want to broadcast that message to people and get it into the media, that got shed loads of ridicule, and it didn't need it. That needed commending, because that's what people should be doing. Buying a tin of paint for $10, spraying a wall, nah. You want to do that, do it in the sand. You know, let it be washed away the following day.
Yeah.
Have you found it? You sent it me on Skype if you want to find a quick reference to it.
Oh, right, okay. There we go. Got it. So I'll share, hopefully I'll share. Let's try that application window today, see if it's going to do it. Do you see that now? No.
No.
So it doesn't like my application window share, so it likes my entire screen. Okay. Right, so you see this? Do you see this, Nath?
Yeah, you're up.
Okay, so Liverpool Echo, liverpoolecho.co.uk. It's the local rag to this afternoon paper in Liverpool. So everybody in that area kind of gets it.
Yeah.
And basically, what on earth are the flat Earth signs that have appeared in Liverpool? The mysterious graffiti has been spotted in the city, but what does it mean? And then we see research flat Earth truth, and then a bit of a description. And the guy's done it right, and he spelt research wrong, which is interesting. And then the Earth is flat. So I don't know who it was that did it. And I think I'll follow Nathan's party line. I'll toe the party line and not condone this. It's terrible. Good on you, lad. Do it again.
So some scallies misspelt research.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's on purpose.
Well, maybe not. I don't know. But shout out to the graffiti king that did that, because you're a very naughty boy.
Yeah, very naughty. Don't graffiti stuff. It just looks horrible.
It does look
Might
horrible.
have been some 12-year-old kid doing it.
Well, he was quite tall. It's about
If you see a
10 foot
pencil
tall.
case, then,
12-year-olds can
you know.
be very tall.
Graffiti on your own pencil case, kids.
Looks like it's on the outside. It was in Tubrook, which is like an area that's Stonycroft. Not a great area.
That's a great screen name. Nathan's Looming Rage Burst. Shout out to Nathan's Looming Rage Burst. Love it, mate. Love it. Excellent sock name.
Great trolling.
Nathan's Looming Rage Burst.
That's quality.
Yeah, they're getting really scientific with their troll names.
Alan B says, "Where's the debate?" Well, we're waiting for. Well, I thought Ranty was going to make a presentation straight away. Clearly not. And we're waiting for Glenn from Australia to come on. He's trying to get his wife into. Well, that came out. He's trying to get his wife to go to bed so that he can get on the computer for half an hour.
So, it's really something. Instead of like, yeah, go to bed, I secretly have to watch porn.
There are people.
Like, I have to secretly do flat Earth debates.
Yeah, that's got to be a sketch in there somewhere. Somebody watching flat Earth debates and the wife bursts in and quick, put porn on.
Yeah, instead. So Orave Enley says that he can't join. He's not authorised to start the call. I think that's actually the sock account of Orave, because the normal Orave can join the call. He's only got 4 subs. So if you're expecting to join as a sock account of a real person, don't expect to get in if you're a sock account of a real person. That's a dick's move. Okay, they're dishing out the dirt again. You're a useless troll, whoever that's aimed at. Come on, Al. I thought you were a decent human being when we met you. You're descending into the ranks of like the pond slime.
Well, maybe he's growing more distant. The internet is growing the gap
Wow, Ruhif, you're up
of
pretty
human
late.
decency.
How's it
Good
going?
evening.
Yeah, we hear you.
The debate begins.
It does. We've got Ranty here. Very good.
We've tried to get this to coordinate for everybody's benefit. Let's get straight into it, sir. What can we do for you today?
All right. So in Nathan's special edition featuring Ranty yesterday, he identified 2 peaks. One was Penny Clodiow. The other one was what was the other one? Hold on. The other one was Moley Park. What Ranty did was zoom in on his footage, and he put. If you actually share my screen, 1 second, I'll share. 1 sec. I'm on. Oh, my machine may have shut itself. Hold on.
Do you know the Rumpus at all?
Yeah.
All right.
Can you hear me, by the way?
Is he? Yeah, yeah.
Can.
Is he?
Yeah.
Is he
Oh no, my Hangouts screen is frozen. So.
All right. Is he a good researcher, Rumpus?
I think so.
Yeah.
Is he reliable, credible, trustworthy?
Like I don't follow him that much, but I mean, yeah,
Wise.
he's alright.
Wise move.
Oh, he
Don't
has
follow
been degenerating pretty much.
Well, I noticed in your comments that you used words that Rumpus used in his words of yesterday in his little presentation thing that he got on screen, and I figured that you must have been watching his presentation skills too, because you were using similar words. Don't let the Rumpus.
We have talked. We've talked, but we haven't collaborated. Give me 1 second. I'll restart my Chrome.
As long as you don't manipulate or falsify the evidence, we're cool.
I'm glad that he said that Rumpus is a good researcher, because he agrees that those are the correct peaks. So obviously, if he decides to say that they aren't, then he's got to have an argument with Rumpus, hasn't he?
No, they won't have. Nobody on the baller side will call Rumpus out. Nobody will challenge anything he says. For some reason, he's got this halo around his head of perfection.
Okay, hold on. Let's just see if Rufus' screen share is working now.
Yeah, 1 sec.
I was quite happy bashing Rumpus.
Your clone.
Ah, Chrome. Chrome is killing me.
You're not alone.
I can see two of
Take
you
your time.
on the screen.
Yeah, kick the other one.
No, don't kick the other one. It might cause you problems. It'll drop eventually.
Okay. I'm just getting a spinning wheel on screen share. I'm going to reboot. I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
No worries.
GeoStreamer claims that he called out Rumpus on his first false identification of some Isle of Man buildings. Didn't see any video on that though, did I? Didn't see a video of GeoStreamer calling out Rumpus, right? I didn't see you challenging him when he falsified and manipulated evidence to support Miles the Liar Davis. Didn't see that, Geo. Why not? Can you imagine if I did that to one of your guys that claim falsified and manipulated evidence to make it look flat?
Do it all the time. You go to Google. How dare you?
Yeah.
How would you make things look flat?
Well, it was more to do with the manipulation of the evidence, not necessarily to make it look flat. It was just the manipulation of stuff. The calling out is in one of the hangouts I had with him. I'd like to see that, Geo. I'd like to see what you class as calling him out, because I bet you it wasn't anything like what it was when people call us out on stuff. I bet you it was a case of, no, I don't think that's right. This is what I think. And then Rumpus goes, oh, right, okay then. John Watson, I think they seriously believe their own BS. I think some of them do genuinely believe it, but I don't think Slice Barkane believes it. I think Slice Barkane pushes it knowing that it's not real, not true.
I'm going to do a quick link because what's his name will return and it'll undoubtedly stay heated for a very long period of time. So I hope everyone's enjoying the debate thus far. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and a link in the info box below the video once it has rendered. But if you'd like to join the panel, as Ruhif has just done, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. Please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show, as this increases the chances of a more diverse panel. One last time, if you're new to the channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. There is an hour and a half left on this live stream. Welcome back, Ruhif.
Thank you. It's working. Woo.
Excellent. So I'll stick you straight on for the audience and you can take it from there. Please try not to interrupt him while he's just doing his initial presentation, guys.
Cool. I'll try not to be long as well because I could go to bed. All right. So Ranty has identified two peaks, Penny Clodiau on the left and Moley Park on the right. He has drawn a scale as well in the middle and has taken a cross-section between those two peaks and found that the lowest point, the highest point, the valley basically between those two peaks, which you can see in the middle in the elevation profile, and that was like 918 feet or so. So he's claiming then that this scale is an accurate representation of reality. So, you know, Penny Clodiau fits at 1393, Moley Park fits at 1300, and this 918 feet, you know, roughly 900 feet, fits with the scale. And he's then extended that scale down to the ground. And I think he said you can see all but about 100 feet of the land. Right, does that make sense, everyone? That's what he's done. So he's claiming he can basically see most of the mountain, almost all of the mountain.
Yeah, that's
and therefore the
well done.
Yeah, therefore the Earth is flat. What Ranty should have done, if I go and open Google Earth, I've got to like reshare that window, don't I? Hold on. I gotta flip windows. Come on. Google Earth. All right, so let's click on Ranty over here. All right, so his observation point is up at Blackpool, and he has identified these two mountains, Moley Park and Penny Clodiau. And then based on his elevation profile and based on his actual video image, the lowest point is pretty close to the middle between those two mountains. So this red line is a line from his observation point right through the middle of those two peaks. Excuse me. So he has taken a cross section from, he's taken a cross section from here to here, and then just done an elevation profile of that, and saw a low point of 918 feet. What he should have done, well, first of all, that's only taking one cross section like that. Hang on, how do I kill that? He should take multiple cross sections, all the way back, theoretically back to his observation point. But what I've done here is drawn some lines close to the middle. So I've drawn 5 lines here, and we should just check out the elevation profile of those lines. We've got, where are my lines? The west-west line. All right, so this one is the yellow line on the left, that one. And if we look at the elevation profile of that one, it's got a maximum. So this is, again, looking from the observation point to these two mountains. So the highest point on that line, which you should see, is 1158. We'll go to the next line. This is slightly closer to the middle, and you would expect it to be down a little bit. Yep, so it's 1139 feet at its highest. And now we're going the actual middle line, right in the middle of the two mountains. That's a bit longer. Whoops. So it goes all the way back to the observation point. And the highest point on that line is 1091, so 1,091 feet. That's the important one, 1091 feet. So we'll try this other line. And elevation profile, highest point 1116, and then this other one 1154, right? So the point is that the lowest, how can I say this? The lowest high point. So if you were at the Blackpool Pier, this valley that you see in between the two mountains, the lowest point is 1091, which is the lowest line here.
Can you show us that?
Well, this is the elevation profile.
Sure, but what I mean by that is, if you were to look through the line of sight on Google, is that exactly what you're represented with? No valley?
You'll get a valley, but Ranty has overestimated the depth of that valley.
Okay, if you go to Peak Finder, does that show a valley too?
It does, but it's difficult to get a height.
Sure, but
I'm not disputing.
What it does show on Peak Finder
you
is
do
that
realise
valley.
that Google Earth is 30 meters out.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
That's
it could be that far out. Yeah.
I was just going to say, what it shows on Peak Finder though is that valley between those two mountains is absolutely on the horizon, according to Peak Finder.
Doesn't that hurt you guys?
Not in the slightest, because there's clearly land below that peak, and according to Peak Finder, it should be on the horizon. That valley that you're saying shouldn't be there, that there's elevation in between it, well, it's represented on Peak Finder, and it's represented at the horizon, which was his assertion. So if you're saying Peak Finder's wrong, can you show me now on Google that there is no gap between, or that the
No, no,
gap
there is a gap. There is a gap. It is
So
the.
are you saying that the gap? You're saying the gap should be
elevation of that
higher.
gap.
The elevation of the gap should be higher.
The elevation of the gap is higher. So Ranty got 918 because he only did a cross section. He only did a single slice.
Sure. So if you're saying it should be higher, that would mean that there is physically more land below this valley, correct?
Yes.
Right. In that case, it seems that, again, we're back to peak finder show this valley on the horizon. And that's where the curve calcs say it should be. If you're saying it's even higher, then we've got even more land below it, despite the fact that it should be on the horizon.
The question is, what is the height of that valley? The lowest point. What is the elevation of that lowest point in the valley?
Well, like I say, what it's represented as on Peak Finder is a valley that touches the horizon.
Yeah, what is the elevation of that valley? Ranty says 918 feet. I say 1,091.
I'm saying that regardless of the maths, the representation that we've been given says that that valley should be on the horizon, and obviously it should be, even if it's slightly higher, because of the curve of the Earth.
Yeah, but look, I haven't looked at Peak Finder. I don't know what it shows. I don't know whether it's how accurate it is or anything like that. The point in dispute.
Could you do me a very good favor? You see the right hand line that you have drawn in.
The yellow. Yep.
Yeah. So if you go, so like the same distance away from that as to the middle, and put me another line in there, because it looks to me like there's a very low section there. Sorry,
zoom in. Back off, Rumpus.
Oh, yeah, he's a bit. He's a spam head, isn't he?
Just a little. So what do you want to do?
Some more cross sections in. You've got some cross sections in there. You've got one on the right. So I want you to put a couple more cross sections into the right of that, please.
So make these so have like 7 lines and make them wider.
No, make them 7 lines, but just to the right hand side.
Oh, so shifting where you think the valley is.
Not where I think the valley is. I just want to see if there's if you put an elevation profile in, 2 lines go into the right of the ones you've already got in, and let's see what they come out at. Yeah, there we go.
Okay,
that's right. Yeah.
All right.
If I could have a look at the elevation profile of that one.
All right, so 1171. So these are heading up towards Penny Clodiau.
Okay.
So do you want to go left or right?
Left. Sorry, again, right, please.
Again, right. Okay.
I just want to have a look how you've done this. This will be useful for my other observation that I did later on last night from much further away.
Cool. All right, so 1206. So it's clearly going up towards.
So you see where you've got your. It says there 977 where you've got your.
Oh, here. Yep.
Yeah. So you got 977. Yep. So the highest point, where is that?
Pretty close to Penny Clodiau.
Right. Okay.
Like in that line, like it's pretty much on that line between the 2 mountains.
Okay. So if you go back to my image.
Yep. Do you want me to share it or just look at it?
Yeah, the one that you had up before.
Yeah. I'll share it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. 1 sec. There you go. That's that one. Yep.
Right. So the debate is what's in the valley, or where the valley is. Is that right? Not what
how high?
Not what the height of the actual mountains are.
There is a dispute over the height of Penny Clodiau. I get 1,440, but coincidentally, it is actually further back, and it will lose roughly 30 or 40 feet in curvature. So
you agree with the scale, the ruler being at 1,400 for that, and you agree with the Moley Park 1,300 feet. That scales. So
yes, but I do not agree with the 900 feet.
So what's the issue with the ruler?
You've got 900 feet there, and it should be close to 1100.
Okay, so who's to say that the camera didn't pick up something in that valley? You know, because clouds do roll in, they do cover things at times.
Refraction.
Just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it's not there. But what isn't in dispute is that the two mountains are in the image, and that the heights, like you've just said, are consistent with the ruler. And if the ruler's correct, then that scale should be correct. Just because we can't see the valley in between doesn't mean that there wasn't cloud in that area at that time.
I'm a bit confused. Sorry. In the real picture, there is a valley.
Yes.
And Ranty scaled it with the ruler, and you're saying you agree with where the ruler scales on the mountains, correct?
Roughly, yeah. I mean, it's like I said, there's a dispute over how high Penny Claudio is.
Your argument's about not seeing the valley. Your argument is that there should be more of the valley visible in the image, and there isn't. That's what the argument's about.
Kind of. It more throws out the scale. If you change that 900 feet to 1100 feet, then your 0 point is obviously well below the horizon. Therefore, the curvature.
Okay. So if I don't have the 900 feet in there at all, and I just have the height of Penny Claudio and the height of Moldy Park, which are two distinct features on the horizon which we are seeing in the image, and they are scaled correctly with the ruler, then what's the issue?
I think it's very difficult to distinguish 100 feet at that resolution. Like I said, the Penny or so, as to how much it changes by if you bring it forward.
Okay,
it's tricky. Yeah.
Let's run another.
There's a much bigger error.
Let's run another thing by you. You see where it says Penny Claudio and it says 1393 feet.
Yep.
At the end where it says feet, the T part underneath that, just to the right, you have a wind turbine, don't you? That's sticking almost vertical. So so the height of that is 185 meters to the tip of that.
I'm fairly sure they're 135.
Yeah, I think you'll find that that's not correct.
Sorry, are they across the different wind farms? Are they roughly the same height, or are there some that are massive?
These are the biggest wind turbines in the world on Burbo Bank. The hood height is 105 meters, and to the tip is 185. And coincidentally, the distance between the wind turbines, the first section of the wind turbines, and the mountains behind which we're measuring, is roughly about 50%, so halfway. Okay. So those wind turbines are halfway to the mountains behind. Now, if we have 185 meters, and we'd lived on a flat plane, if we live on a flat plane, let's just assume that for a moment.
Sorry,
we've got
Rum just asked me if I told him to fuck off.
Hang on, just a minute. So we have 185 meters. And if we're living on a flat plane and we're using, we're going to scale this, so twice as far, twice as much. So that would be 370 meters. So would that not look consistent with the mountains behind?
But that's assuming that assuming a flat Earth. You're going.
Okay, so let me just work out the meters to feet. Let's work this out.
Yeah, but the scale of the wind towers, it's hard to tell in that photo, but they look like the blades would be pretty close to touching the water. So your starting point for your scaling is already too high.
Okay, well, 1,213 feet it would work out to on a flat plane. Those wind turbines are 20 miles away. The mountains in the background are between 40 and 42 miles away. So for argument's sake, I've just gone to 50% halfway. 370 meters is 1,213 feet. Is that not consistent with the measure that I've put in?
I think no.
You think no? You don't see that there's 1,215 feet there, and we've got a little bit lost at the bottom, which I've already attained to the 100 feet.
Yeah, I'm trying to
process it. I know it's a bit difficult to process.
Nah, the things further in the distance should be dropping behind the cumulative dropping curve.
You see, if we look, you see, it scales on a flat plane. If this is a flat plane image, and we're looking at it from a flat plane perspective, and we're seeing that those wind turbines, the highest point of that tip is 185 meters, and if it's half the distance to the mountains behind, then the scale is absolutely perfect.
But I'm trying to work in the.
You're trying to work in the ball Earth model. I know. I'm just trying to say
yes.
This is what we're seeing, and it just so coincidentally works out that it's spot on perfect for a flat Earth proof. The height of the the turbine, and with it being exactly halfway to the mountains in the background and 1,213 feet.
The only thing that's missing is basically what is right there under the refraction zone, that part that is cut off.
Yeah, the 900 feet.
Then it is almost like a how do you say, a unlimited perspective 3D model. It's just because of that refraction zone, a part is cut off, and it appears to us like it's slanted. But yeah, if there would be any physical literal curvature, then it would keep on dropping exponentially the further away the objects are. They wouldn't retract in size towards the far distance. No, they would just drop off.
You see, and the other thing that you need to be thinking about is that if we were living on a ball and you say we're only seeing the tippy toppies of the mountains in the background, we wouldn't have to raise our eyes up above the height of the turbines. So the turbine hub or below is where the mountain would appear in the background. It wouldn't appear higher than the hubs, because as it goes further away, it's also dropping. So it's getting higher, but it's dropping. So perspective-wise, you'd be looking at the turbine and you'd look at the hub, and beneath that would be where the top of the mountains would be. It wouldn't be scaled like this.
I'm trying to work out whether you're scaling.
Well, if you look at the image and you see the 1,393 feet, right?
Yeah, I think I understand your scaling.
So that's another 20 miles behind the turbines, yeah? So as you know, as the further you go, the drop gets a lot quicker. So the further away you go, another 20 miles, you're talking probably 300 or 400 feet more of drop, right? So the actual appearance of those mountains behind the wind turbines would be below the height of the turbines, not consistent with a flat Earth image.
Ranty, are we talking about the correct turbines here? Because GeoStreamer claims that you're talking about the wrong ones. Those are smaller than the Vesta V164 discussed earlier.
Yes, we're talking about the correct ones.
He says you're not.
All right, well, he can
Foxtrot
go with me. Yeah.
But hey,
Okay,
guys,
so
like on the ball, would there even be any of that mountain
no,
visible?
before that gets nipped in the bud.
Yeah.
So GeoStreamer saying it's a smaller one. What's the difference in size?
Hang on. So he says that the Burbo Bank ones aren't in the image. Is that what he's saying?
His
Yeah,
words
I
are,
thought they were 130 something.
his
Right,
words
okay.
are, they're
Hang
talking about the wrong turbines. Those are smaller than the Vesta V164 discussed earlier. So in other words, can you show that we're talking about the Burbo Bank turbines or not?
Right, hang on. Let me just share my screen.
Because if they are the Burbo Bank ones, that means GeoStreamer's got it wrong. Again.
He's always got it wrong. Right.
Sometimes he does get some points right.
Right. Okay. So let me know when I'm sharing, Nath.
Yeah, you're on.
Right. Okay. So there's the observation point. And there's the line of sight. Here's the line of sight. Here's the lines of sight. And we go through the Burbo Bank. Burbo Bank. What does that say? What does this say? Does that say Burbo Bank?
Right. Is there anything behind it, Ranty, that you might be thinking that is referenced in the picture?
No. These are the Burbo Banks that we're looking through. This is the line of sight. This is Burbo Bank. Is he just pulling my chain? Because
well, he says that the Burbo Bank was built in two
cured of these trolls.
He's saying the Burbo Bank was built in two phases. Phase one was
challenged by GeoStreamer, Ranty. Sorry to cut you off, Anthony. I'd rather it was challenged and then confirmed or falsified. So, as much as it might be frustrating, thank you, GeoStreamer. Seems like they are Burbo Bank, but if there's something more to add, please add it.
But he has added more. He's saying the wind farm at Burbo Bank was built in 2 phases. Phase 1, 83-meter hub height, 100-meter rotor diameter. Phase 2, hub height of 105, rotor diameter 164. So I guess then, without knowing which was phase 1 and which was phase 2, Ranty, do you know which one was phase 1 and 2?
Burbo Bank extension was west.
Sorry, can you say that again, Ruhiv?
Burbo Bank extension is the western one.
Yep. And the Burbo Bank.
We're looking through some of the extension and some of the original, so it's kind of hard to tell.
Okay, so again, so what's the height difference? Just give it me in feet, the difference between the two of them. I mean, we're talking a negligible difference in terms of how it would scale it.
One was the hub height of 83 compared to a hub height of 105. So it's 50 meters.
Talking, well, this is meters though, right? So that's a fair old difference.
50 feet.
50 feet higher?
Yeah.
Oh, well, when you put it like that, I mean, it's not going to make a huge difference to the scaling, is it?
No, we can just say what Martha Lyle Davis says. I don't think observer height will make that much difference. The one just saying.
Hang on, I want to go back to this point about the mountains being further away, and an additional 20 miles away beyond the actual wind turbines. If that was on a ball Earth, they would appear lower than the wind farms in front.
I would seriously need to do a spreadsheet to work out what the scale should be.
Why don't you get the Rumpus to do your spreadsheet? That'll be interesting.
Oh, Rumpus
sent me something before. You're looking at the wind turbines and the mountains behind, and you're comparing sizes, and then you're saying what you should see and what you shouldn't see with the curvature of the Earth. But if you actually take those mountains and you lower them, because they would be further away from you, so they would be going around the curve. Then perspective-wise, as you take an image of something, the thing that's in the foreground, the one behind it, even if it's higher, is still dropping around the curve of the Earth.
What was the drop? What was the drop value?
Lower.
Ranty, what was the drop value?
Hang on, what we're on 42 miles, was it?
I mean, it's a bit fallacious to take this drop value because I'm pretty sure that we're always angling our camera up in the Metabunk model. Angling the camera down, even though you clearly are angling the camera up in this instance.
Well, the drop to the...
How do you tell that?
How can we tell that he's looking up? Because he's on the beach and the turbines are higher than he is, and how else could he not be looking up at those turbines?
I mean, you're assuming then that the Earth is flat.
Well, are you saying that at 20 miles, those turbines are lower than looking up?
Well, I don't know. I'm just wondering how you go straight to asserting it.
Well, again, I started with that assertion with the mountains, because it is higher than originally when he showed it with the pier. The pier's 30 feet high, and the mountains are higher than the midpoint of the pier. So even at that distance, he's definitely looking up at the pier, and the mountains are behind the pier, above him. So I don't see how you can draw any other conclusion.
Oh, because we haven't got a compass. That's what it is.
Well, hold on, I want to hear the answer. How can I draw any other conclusion when the pier's only a matter of yards away from him, and he's definitely looking up at the pier? The mountains are behind him. You know, they're not dropping behind the curve of the Earth. In terms of scale, as far as I can ascertain, they're definitely going away and above the line of halfway above the pier, which would be 15 feet, which would be above him.
All right, on a curve, the at 20 miles, the drop is 81 meters. So most of the turbines would actually be below.
Yeah, we're not seeing that.
Sorry,
but they're not, are they?
No, as below your actual flat line of sight, your horizontal.
But if they're 80 meters, and you're saying, hold on, if you're saying the hub height is 80 meters of these turbines,
I'm saying the question was, are we actually looking up or down?
Sure, but if you're saying that these turbines are 80 meters obscured, then the hub should be on the horizon, should it not? If they're 80 meters tall.
That would be the horizontal, not the horizon. That would be if you were looking straight out. We
were on the beach. We're looking straight out, right? So you're saying that these now declared to be the smaller wind turbines by Geo, whether or not this is accepted, but that's currently where we're at. They're 83 metres tall. So that would mean that the very centre point of the hub was on the horizon, being obscured below that
The
by
horizon
curve.
is lower. The horizon is very, very slightly angled down.
Hold on.
If you are looking
Are your
level-
maths telling me that these are obscured to 80 metres?
No, we're not talking about obstruction. We're talking about we're talking about whether you're looking up half a degree or down half a degree.
Right, and I'm asking you that if we are looking down at them because they have dropped below the curve, where does that place them in relation to the horizon, so that we can ascertain if they are in that position, therefore we are looking up or down at them?
They're still above the horizon because the horizon is very
I
slightly
know, but how much
below,
above the horizon? Are we talking that from the hub point up they should be appearing?
No.
Will you tell me, at what point should they be appearing on the horizon, specifically?
Miles, refracted hidden, I've got 46.
Not refracted hidden. How much curves blocking our view?
Why do they always go
just
straight to refracted hidden?
How much is obscured?
This refraction is the thing.
No. I don't want to hear about some obscure maths that automatically assumes the Earth is curved. That's what your maths does. The refraction maths automatically assumes there's a curve. Correct?
Yeah.
Right,
But
well,
then
that's
we're talking
nonsense.
about
So
your-
prove there's a curve before you insert maths that assumes one. Prove it first.
Let's
let's
start
just
at the
forget
start.
the refraction maths for now. On the sphere of the Earth, there is a wall, Earth, blocking these wind turbines, and I want to know how high up the turbines this curve should block them.
I would say 46 meters.
That's with refraction, correct?
Yeah. Well, you can say 55 without.
So automatically assuming that the Earth is curved, which you have no proof of, you're going to insert maths that also assumes that there's a curve that you haven't proven, and then extrapolates the maths out from there. And I'm just going to say no. Why? Prove there's a curve before you insert the maths. Prove first that there is a curve before inserting maths that assumes there is one. Prove it first.
The statement.
So by
The
proving
statement
it, I
you
want you to show me in the maths how high this curve should obscure the hub. Forget refraction.
Your statement was we are looking up at the turbines. I question that.
Yeah, and I want to know if we're not looking up because it's dropped behind the curve of the Earth, I want to know how much it's supposed to have dropped.
But then you're talking about obscuring it. I'm just talking about if we are looking directly horizontal, at what point will we see the turbines?
Well, we can calculate it using the information.
That's exactly what I'm asking.
And it's 81 meters.
In a sense,
Let's
I
just do
think
the
he
curve
has-
maths
he
on it.
has a
Can someone
point.
bring up the curve calculator from whatever Dizzy Org or whatever it's called, and let's just see exactly at 83 meter hub height how much should be actually hidden. Therefore, how high that hub should be on the
It's not
horizon.
a question of hidden. We're not talking about whether it's hidden or not. We're talking about
Yeah, we are.
looking directly.
If it's
at 0
hidden, then
degrees
it's going to be
horizontal.
below me, below my eye
not even
line.
a-
It's going to be a very tight margin because he's only 6 foot on the beach. So therefore, for it to be below him, as you're saying it is, it needs to be not only appearing, but right on the horizon and within 6 foot
Not
of
the
his
horizon.
straight line of sight on the horizontal. So you're talking about proving this with the tiniest of margins, and I just don't think you're going to do it.
Yeah, it's not even an important point.
It's absolutely an important point whether or not we're looking up at this stuff, because your model necessitates that we look down, and you've just asserted that we look down. Now I'm going to test your claim. So if somebody can bring up the curve maths, we think it's
I've
got
got the curve maths in front of me.
an 83 meter hub height. I want to know where that
and
sits on the horizon. It might be that is correct, and that we should have considerably more of the hub and more of the pole below. And if that's the case, we can move on.
Talking about the horizon. The horizon is not relevant to this point.
It is absolutely relevant to this point. If we're looking up or down, I need to know in reference to the horizon whether or not the thing is above or below the point that it should be at. And in order to establish that, we need to take the height 83 meters of the hub and then compare that to what should actually be obscured on your globe model.
Again, we're not concerned at this point about what is obscured.
Yeah, we are.
We're on the
That
beach.
determines whether or not we're looking up at it or not.
Yeah, but that's what you asserted, and I it's not even like I'm happy to like give up on this particular point. It doesn't.
Well, it's
matter.
our point that we are looking up at this stuff, and you're saying it's not relevant, and I'd rather move on. Tough luck. Let you prove that we are looking down at it.
Which way would you like me to look, up or down?
I want you to prove that we are looking down at something that's gone behind a curve.
Oh, we're looking. If we're looking straight out, horizontal, we're basically looking at the hub via the maths.
Right, so is
Nathan?
that down, like Metabunk Maths dictates, or not?
No, this is geometric.
Nathan.
No refraction. This has nothing to do with
refraction. I'm
obstruction
talking about the maths. Nothing to do with refraction.
Yeah, because we're not talking about what's obscured or anything.
Yeah, we are. If it's going to be below my feet, part of it must be obscured to the degree that the globe math says it should be, in order for me to accept that I'm looking down at it.
Nathan, can I interject for one little moment?
Yeah.
You're both slightly incorrect in the sense that you are looking a little bit down because of the refraction zone slant, but just a tiny bit, but not enough to actually prove the curve, because then you would look a lot more down and you would have to look through the actual bulge of water. So technically you're looking slightly down, or maybe just to your technical eye height at the horizon, and looking slightly up, like what the actual height is of the wind farm towers. They're just displaced slightly downwards because of standard refraction.
I don't accept that. What I accept is that as far as the ball is concerned, I'm supposed to be on top of it. That's how gravity works. Therefore, everything out from my position is curving away from me, and therefore I must be looking down upon it. That is the dictation of living on a sphere. If I'm on the top of it, I'm looking down. And we dispute that and say, no, we are looking up. Now, that is the point of contention. And the point of contention has landed on these wind turbines. Now, if we can calculate
how do you know
where
you're looking
they
up
should
and not
appear
down?
with a sphere blocking our view of them, we can calculate whether or not we are looking up or down at them.
Say that last bit again.
We're definitely not looking really down upon them, but
But that is what is
I think we're
necessitated
looking,
by a sphere, Arwin. So if we are going to assume that we live on a sphere, we must accept that we are looking down.
Can I just say something here? Whether we're looking up or down, I don't think either side can prove it one way or the other.
no, we can.
It doesn't matter.
No, we can.
No, it does matter, but I don't think either side can prove it.
I don't think you're looking up, but you're not really looking down either. You're just looking in a straight line because of the refraction zone that displaces everything in the far distance slightly downwards.
But
in
I
a
think it's
straight
also
line.
prominent to say that if Ruhif's claim is that true horizontal is the hub of the turbines, I would laugh my bottom bollock off for that. That is a ridiculous. Sorry, that's
on a
ridiculous.
curve, obviously.
If you're saying that the center hub of the turbines is really the true horizontal, that's absurd.
Why is that absurd?
Because it's clearly above the horizon, and horizon by
Yeah,
definition
we're
is
not
horizontal.
talking about the horizon. Wow.
No, we are.
Here we are.
You're
That's
looking in the
exactly what we are
distance. Of course, you're
about.
talking about the horizon.
We are talking
Oh, look,
specifically
with the
about the horizon.
The horizon
It should
is
be curved
below
on a sphere. That's what
the
we're.
zero.
This is the very nature of this debate. So to say
Yeah,
we're not
you're
talking about the
even on a
horizon,
flat
yes,
Earth,
we
you're
are
looking down at-
absolutely talking about the horizon here. That's the nature of our existence. That's what we're talking about on a flat Earth debate.
But either way, you're looking down at the horizon.
Yeah,
on
but
either model.
only very slightly on the flat Earth. Look,
Right,
on the
but hold
ball,
on.
you would have to.
We're not
look
talking about
down a lot more.
We are talking about these hubs and where they sit in relation to the horizon. You're saying we're looking down upon them. No, we're
Can
not.
we have the picture back?
No, I was questioning that you asserted that we're looking up.
Yeah, we
Ranty,
are.
Can we have it back on screen, please, Ranty, so we can see these hubs?
This is such a massive tangent. Like it's
Not at
And
all.
can I
If
also
we
say
are
that-
looking down, as must be the case on a sphere, then that proves we're on a sphere if we're looking down at this stuff. If, as we assert, we're on a flat plane, we must look up at it. So there's a total distinction between the two varying ways of looking at reality. You're like making out like it's a moot point. It isn't.
I think it is.
Well,
you can't tell
I'd
that from the
agree,
photo.
because neither side can prove it. But the point is,
What?
you
Why would you
guys
say
have
that?
the,
Yeah, we
the,
can.
the proof to prove that it's down.
It is down. It's just not down enough. That's the whole
Yeah,
point.
like,
Because
when it
the
comes
further
down to
away
it,
the objects, the deeper the drop should be, and it's not. It's
but when it
down,
comes
but
down
in
to
a
it,
constant.
the Earth
It's in a
is
constant
down.
straight line after the refraction zone starts. That is the best proof there's no curve, because it should be cumulative. The drop should be cumulative.
If the Earth is a sphere, then you're looking down. If it's flat, you look up. You can't tell that from the photo.
No, but there is still optical effects. There's still the refraction that bends light up after a certain distance.
Yeah.
And that causes that apparent edge, as it were, that we get to see. And when you zoom in, you see that things behind it get distorted because they're in the refraction zone. That is, refraction is still there. It's optics. It's just not the curve. It's an optical effect that displaces things visually slightly downwards. But it does not keep on dropping into the distance. And that would be required on a literal curved ball. It should continue dropping cumulatively much further and further the further you go away. And it doesn't. So despite everything being visually slightly displaced downwards because of refraction, you can still see way too far, way too far for it to be able to be a ball.
Sorry, are you talking about the mountains in the background or the turbines?
Everything.
I thought we've
Just
established
the
that you
far
can see
distance. You should not be able to see that far.
You see, Ruhif, you seem to
mountains?
know a lot about your model, but you seem to just ignore our model. Whenever we say that there's right above the horizon, we get what we class as dirty air that affects what you see on the horizon. And you always obfuscate that point. And you try and co-opt it into curve. And this is our model. Our model says that this is what we see. This is our observations. This is what we see. This is what happens. The mountains in the background show the heights that we're seeing. The fact that the bottoms of the turbines get cut off here and there, exactly within this refraction zone, seems to just always be ignored by you guys. You never, we accept your model and we work with your model and try to show how it works with your model, but you never accept what our model is, or even go with it and run with it and say, okay, then we'll give you a bit of the benefit of the doubt. This is your model. Let's see what it does. Let's see what happens. You never do that.
Is everyone in agreement that we can see these mountains on a curve, Earth?
No.
No.
No, they're just
Really?
no, they're not on a curve. They're slightly on the slant behind the refraction zone. They're displaced downwards because of refraction bending light up.
Do you want to present me, Nathan?
Sorry, the question was, do you accept that we should be able to see these mountains on a globe? And you said no?
No, you said on a curve. You don't see them on a curve.
On a globe. Should you be able to see them on a globe?
The tops of them you should be able to see.
I don't know if that's true. I've not seen the true curve maths been done. All I've seen is the co-opted, very globe-friendly, work in your favour maths show that the tips of them
if we just go by the drop, then it's touch and go whether you see any of it. If we go with just the
drop
hidden,
is not what you're looking at, right?
Well, if we just go with the hidden, then by your maths we should see the very tops of them. But you certainly shouldn't see as much as we do of what we actually do see, even with your refracted hidden.
Well, I would rephrase the answer to say that no, we shouldn't see the mountains. We should see the peaks. And Peak Finder seems to show us peaks, but we don't see peaks. We see tops and bottoms.
Yeah, you would see peaks sticking out of the ocean, basically.
Can I just push that one stage further? We wouldn't even see the peaks because there is a band on the horizon that is obstruction to the observer that is an inverted mirage, according to Slice Arcane. So even the tippy tops of them peeking through, we wouldn't see them because of the mirage on the horizon, right?
How big is this refraction zone? I mean, what's a Molly
It's all
Park?
to do with the angular size. If you've got Blackpool Tower that's 50 miles away, right? Blackpool Tower could be 400 feet tall. The band of refraction might be 3 inches, but over that sort of distance, it would make half of Blackpool Tower disappear. So it's all to do with weather conditions. You know, sometimes we don't know. We just know what we observe.
Well, that said, you've accounted for 100 feet of it, so...
Right, but the so Molly Park is 1,300 feet tall at 41 miles, I think. Fractured Hidden, 800.
Here we go, straight to refracted
Geometric
hidden. So you're going to use maths that automatically assumes we're on a sphere Earth and applies refraction based on us having a curve that is assumed but not proven.
Not taking into account other people's
I'm not
models.
interested
So
in the refracted hidden figure. The refracted
refracted
hidden figure means nothing to me because it automatically assumes that
Well,
you have a
then
curve to begin with.
Your flat Earth model means nothing to me.
Oh, well, that's
I
fair
was
enough,
just
other than the fact
not
that
taking
the
into
model
account the flat Earth
doesn't
model,
need
right?
refraction. You need this refraction, and it's not relevant to the geometric nature of your world. It's an assumed mathematical formula that assumes you have a curve to begin with to bend the light around. Well, that's totally fallacious.
Again, I can't believe we're back to discussing whether refraction is a thing or not.
No, it's not discussing whether or not
refraction
refraction
is a thing. It just doesn't bend.
It just doesn't bend light around an assumed curve of the Earth. That's
slant,
what you're using.
one slant. That's what you get.
So
it doesn't keep on bending.
So it does not bend the light around an assumed curve of the Earth. That's not what refraction does. We're not discounting refraction at all. You are using the maths that dictates there is a curve and that light bends round it in your mathematics. And it's not reasonable when you've got a sphere of an Earth with an amount of Earth that should obscure things. Prove first there is that curve before you insert maths to get around it and negate it.
Even without refraction.
Could you present me, Nathan? I want to show the video that I took last night.
Yeah, it's on now.
All right, okay. So I went much further away this time. I went up near Fleetwood, and I decided to just do a panoramic. There's North Pier. My elevation at this time was about 17 feet. And I'll just show you what was able to be seen from distances up to 50 miles away. And it's constant, by the way. You don't see any areas where there is no land. It's constant.
I'm not seeing you presented, by the way.
Oh, are you not?
Just click on Ranty's face.
Yeah, but I mean, oh, okay. So it is to the live stream. Okay,
I'll show you again. So you can argue whether you think that this is just the tippy toppies of the mountains or not.
That is, yeah. I mean,
it is.
To me, it comes down to that height. It comes down to the height of the valley that we're talking about. I mean, you sort of dismissed it as, oh, maybe it was cloudy in there. I mean, that was a pretty.
Is that the tippy toppies of that mountain?
I can't tell from this video.
No. Because there's the height of the turbine there with its wind turbine blade there. So if you know that
most of it's underwater, Andy. Why is most of it underwater?
You mean underwater? You mean you can't see the beach? Are you going to go back to you can't see the beach?
No, we can't see the base of the turbine. It's like mostly underwater.
And what did I say
is
to you earlier? You're not applying.
It's hidden in the refraction zone.
Exactly.
That video that I showed the other day was so clear. Like the water was so calm.
See the height of this. Are you telling me that's the tippy toppies of that mountain? When a little bit further on, we've got the wind turbines, which are at the height of my cursor now.
Yeah, I can't see the video, really.
No, you can't. No, you deny it. Denial. There's the turbine. There's the turbine.
Alwyn, could you send me a copy of that PDF?
Yes, I'm working on it right now.
Good man, thank you very much, sir.
It is your file, by the way.
I know, but I've lost it, so I need another copy of it, and I didn't know you had a copy, so fingers one over it. Good man.
You've got almost half the turbines underwater. How is that? Like, what would evidence of curvature look like if it's not turbines half underwater?
You want to just have a look on
a cumulative drop
Alwyn's screen, please?
Yeah,
increasingly dropping as the further away you go.
I agree. I absolutely agree. The Earth drops as you go away.
No, it doesn't. It would
look on screen now.
No, no, in the
it would
middle.
drop
on it.
more
Hold on,
and
one at a
more the
time,
further
hold
away
on.
you go. It would
Hold
drop so
on,
much.
Arwin, I'm just trying to get him to
You
be on
wouldn't
the
see
same
anything
page.
anymore.
Arwin, please. Can you just click on Arwin's page so you can see what he's got demonstrated up on page now, please, Ruhif?
Yep.
Am I no longer presenting now then? Yeah.
Just for a moment, because we're at a point where we're back to where's the beach, and we have this assertion that because we see the obstruction formerly known as curvature, that means that these wind turbines have dropped, even though you can look at them side on and see that they're all exactly the same elevation. That aside, apparently when we look at them from the front, we see them dipping below the curve of the Earth. Now that dipping is presumably about half the height, so we've had 40 feet lost, according to Ruhif, at 20 miles. And then further in the background we have mountains that, according to him, we've misidentified the valley on. So we've got lots of misidentifications and lots of assumptions. The curve is there at 20 miles, but we're not seeing it at 40 miles.
So I thought Ruhif agreed that the scaling was correct on the two mountains, so that would give the ruler measurement as being consistent down to 100 feet.
It's roughly
his argument
correct.
was argument was the valley that we're not seeing the valley.
Yes, the valley is a vastly different height. When you've got the 1393, the 1400 and 1300, a little change in that is going to be very difficult to pick up. But if you've got 900 and it's actually 1100, that puts your scale way out. That is actually what I wanted to say in this last 50 minutes. And you basically brushed off the elevation of that valley, just saying, "Oh, there may have been a cloud there." I think that's a bit weak.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. It was in and out all the time. I have a video of it that I'm actually just looking at now to see if I can identify that same.
Yeah, I think you need to go back and on a clear day.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, you can absolutely see how misty it is there. To be fair, on the video.
I was actually hoping to be here about 20 minutes. That's hasn't happened.
Well, as long as we agree that the mountain heights were correct, the scaling was correct to that, then I'm happy that you've come along and helped prove the flat Earth.
But it's hard. It's roughly correct. It's so hard when they're close together.
So when you say roughly correct, and we're seeing down to 100 feet, but the curvature charts say like 1,000 feet. So
if you rescale it.
Sorry.
If you rescale your image with the valley,
to the things that we can't see, rather than the things that we can see. If we rescale it to the part that's missing, the valley between where the clouds are, we're going to ignore the height of the two mountains that are in the image.
No.
We're going to ignore that completely, and let's focus on the missing part where the clouds are, and then scale it in the missing zone, rather than.
Do you know what a line of best fit is? What a line of best fit in Excel
that sounds like a rumpus-esque.
It's not a rumpus theft. If you draw a line, if you have the three data points of 1400, 1300, and was it 1100, and your 1100 is way off the scale, then you've got to adjust them all.
Bring them into scale. So if there's something that you can clearly see, there's two land masses that are very identifiable on the video, on the image and the video.
What if there's a cloud? What if there's a cloud on top of Penny Claudio?
Well, exactly. But what happens if it matches up exactly as you'd expect to see it on Peak Finder?
Yeah, but your 900 doesn't match. This is the point.
It doesn't match. You mean
it's not 900?
You mean because it was cloudy?
No, you're saying it's cloudy. I'm saying it's 1,090 feet, like almost 1,100.
So you're saying the valley should be is higher up than we're saying it is. You're saying that the valley is at 900 feet. But what Ranty's saying is, if you're agreeing with the scale that he's got for the mountains, and we dance over the fact that there should be about 1,000 feet of them gone, so we should only see 400 feet of these mountains. and you can scale the difference between the two mountains. So what is there, 100 feet between them? You can easily scale that down and see that we're seeing a hell of a lot more than just 400 feet of these mountains if there's 1,000 feet of them being obscured.
I'm not sure how much is visible of each one. I would guess 600 or 700 feet. I don't know.
Can one of you do the curve maths on it? Let's just do Penrith or whatever it's called and just see how much of it should be visible on a sphere Earth. Can you do the maths for that,
it's about
Ranty?
42 miles in it. View of feet was 11 feet. Refracted hidden, obviously, because that's what they go straight to, is 808. Hidden direct 959, and the drop is 1176.
So it's dropped down 1,100 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, the drop's not relevant.
The straight hidden would pretty much dissect the two. You know.
Hold on. Why are you saying the drop's not relevant? So it's dropped from your position 1,100 feet, right?
Yeah, but we're just looking ever so slightly down. So okay.
Hold on. So it's 1,100 feet, right? And that would necessitate us looking up anyway, even on a globe. If you're saying that, how high is the highest one? 1,400.
Are they up or are they down? Oh yeah, they're visible on geometrically. Yeah, yep.
So if it's geometrically visible by 400 feet, well, it's never.
Oh, sorry. Geometrically, the peaks are above zero horizontal.
Right. So we'd be looking up at them.
Most of a few hundred feet of them. Yeah.
Right.
So would they appear higher or lower than the turbines in front?
I would need to draw a diagram with that.
Certainly would.
And that would take a little while. Yeah.
Yeah, because you know the answer.
No, I know the answer on a flat Earth. Like it's.
I know the answer on a bubble Earth too, because it would be lower in perspective.
I'm not sure of that.
Well, let's just quickly do the curve on a 20 mile. Let's do the curve to the wind turbines, 20 miles. The refracted. Let's go with yours, shall we? The refracted hidden's 140 feet. Yeah. Whereas if we go to the mountains, which are at 42.
Hold on, sorry. The refracted hidden on the. You're going too fast, Ranty. Hold on, slow down. So the refracted hidden on the wind turbines is how much at 20 miles?
20 miles, 139 feet.
And the hub height is 80. What's that in meters?
Oh, it's meters. Hold on.
Yeah, just
46.
Yeah, I'm not thinking about that at the minute. Just 139 feet drop on the. So as we've looked at the turbines, they have dropped 139 feet. But then when we go to 42 miles and we look at the mountain itself has dropped by 808, right? So what's the difference between 808 and 139? It's 670?
Yeah.
670. So the mountain is now 670 feet further dropped than the wind turbines in front, right?
Yeah.
So that would make
like
them
1,000 feet higher.
Perspectively lower than the wind turbines.
Yeah, it must be. You've just told us that the wind turbine hub is directly, pretty much on the horizon, within a very small tolerance.
No, not on the horizon. At the zero horizontal, not the horizon. Horizon is always slightly down.
Okay, at the zero. But yet, we're physically looking up at the mountains behind it.
Yeah. The
By
top
about, 300 feet.
Isn't that a contradiction in terms?
No, looking up or looking down doesn't. I don't really care that much.
Well, this scale on a flat plane.
Should.
But when you apply the curve that you talk about and the extra distance, then perspectively, that image should show that the mountains are beneath the wind turbines.
Again, I'd have to draw that.
They wouldn't be higher than the wind turbine. Yeah, I think you should.
I think I should. I can't tonight. Like I planned to be here for about 20 minutes, and now it's getting close to an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Can I just reiterate my point that I came on to give? And it was basically that the elevation of the valley you have is way too low. If you put in a correct elevation there, your scale gets stretched massively, and your 0 point is well below the horizon.
So Peak Finder's wrong, is what you're saying.
I haven't even looked at Peak Finder.
Can we someone bring up Peak Finder and just show what they represent we should see from this specific location, i.e. the pier? Because that's where it's taken from, the Peak Finder representation. And this is constantly used by globe proponents to show us what we should see.
Do you want to do that, Anthony, if he's there?
No, because I'm not paying attention.
Can you just go to
controlled
Peak
by
Finder?
dogs that are fighting.
Just bring up Peak Finder, because sort of like my computer's struggling at the minute with all the work that I'm doing on it.
Shut some windows down. I can try, yeah.
I can't because I'm
Let's
doing
not
this
argue about it.
composite.
If Anthony's said he will do it, so if Anthony can just bring
Does
Peak
Peak
Finder.
Finder give like numbers, or is it just an image?
It's just an image of peaks.
Well,
It's like comparing an image with an
image.
image. It's comparing an image with an image. That's all it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
the
a very
number of-
fuzzy image. Like it's yeah,
okay, that's
I think
just what it's
quite
saying we
subjective.
should see. And, you know, as far as I'm aware, it represents it as we should see it.
Where am I
Yeah,
doing
we can
this
do
from?
elevations on Google Earth.
Well, no. I mean, whenever we've gone to Google Earth in the past to use elevations, we've been told by the globe side that that's not acceptable.
No, it's acceptable within a certain margin of error. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right, anyway, have you got the Peak Finder up, Anthony?
I do. What am I putting in for the town? Just Blackpool or
No, put the pier name.
Oh, all right.
Ranty? What?
It's South Pier. Which one are we doing? Oh, this is South Pier. Yeah.
South Pier, Blackpool.
South Pier, Blackpool. Yeah.
And go to 198, is it? 194?
And what was the name of the
Molly Park, you're on there now. Yep.
that one? So you
Yep.
want me to zoom into this, do you?
Yeah.
Mully Park.
Yeah, to the right.
Yeah.
That's it. Yep.
And what is it you want me to do when I'm here?
Zoom in.
Zoom in, I guess.
Well, that's as far as I can get it.
Oh.
Let's see if I can make it bigger. There you go. Oops. Mully Park. Where have you gone?
To the right. To the right. That's Penny. Penny Cladell on the right.
There we go. Mully Park. That's about as good as I can get it.
Yeah.
Do you want me to do a screenshot and send it over?
No, I'm going to say straight away that resolution is nowhere near useful.
Well, this is the only reference tool that we're allowed that we have, really.
No, we've got Google Earth and we can do elevations on it.
No, we can't.
Why not?
Because it's plus or minus 30 miles worth of variables.
Hang on a sec.
Do you want a screenshot of that, or can I drop it?
Say again?
Do you want a screenshot of that, or can I drop it?
Oh, you can drop it. Like the resolution's nowhere near good enough to trust it.
Right, okay.
Cool.
So where are we at then? Are you still thinking that we live on a ball?
Of course I do.
And the argument for that is because he doesn't have the valley set at the right depth.
Yes, because it stretches his scale out, so the ruler ends up way under the horizon. That is my point. Can I go to bed now?
You can go to bed. I think you should go to bed. I think you've overstayed
Thank
your
you very much
abilities.
for your input then. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for your input.
Thank you very much for your time, sir.
No worries. I will actually draw this though properly on the curved Earth and try and figure out what we should see in terms of the scaling of the wind turbines.
So just to get this right, your position is that because the depth of the valley in between the two mountains isn't to scale according to you, therefore that changes the scale that much that we now back live on a ball.
Yeah, it puts Ranty put the horizon about 100 feet below, 100 feet below the. Sorry, put the ground 100 feet below the horizon. I haven't done the maths on it, but if you do the proper scale with the valley, it'd put it a few hundred feet
Yeah, this definitely
Below?
sounds like a Rumpus-esque deduced horizon point.
All right.
It does.
Um,
You go to bed,
okay.
and we'll carry on next time when we get more. When we've had a look at it and see what we can do.
Okay. As long as it understands the point in that the scale is stretched if you have the correct valley, then I'll go to bed.
It's a fair point, and leave it with us. We'll have a look into it, and we'll come back to you with whatever fabrications of the evidence we can find necessary to prove that we don't live in.
Okay.
All right. See you later.
Thanks again, Ruhif. So we have approximately 30 minutes left on this live stream. Hope you're enjoying the debate thus far. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and a link in the info box below the video once it has rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the debate, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. Please do not swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show, as this increases the live audience, which in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. As I say, there is approximately 30 minutes left on this live stream.
Hey, you dropped off.
Yeah, he just said bye.
Oh. Maybe
So
he
Ranty,
got a
what are
little
you
frustrated. He started to
Sorry?
say a lot like he didn't care. That's
No, he was getting tired and he wanted to go to bed. He'd made his point.
It's probably 3 or 4 in the morning over in Oz.
No, I think the point that stuck him was that at 20 miles the wind farms only drop 139 feet, but the mountains at 42 miles drop over 800.
Yeah,
So they should appear prospectively lower than the turbines, which they don't.
What about his point about the valley? The valley not being the valley being too low.
He didn't understand what it was like yesterday when I went and saw these. It was in and out all the time. You know, sometimes you could see it and sometimes you couldn't. Even on the images themselves, you can see how misty it is. I have to take the image and I have to enhance it to bring out the mountains behind it. I wasn't even sure if I'd captured it on the video, if I'm fair, to be fair, or the images, because it was misty. I could see an outline, what I was looking at.
James Collins is asking, Ranty, but I'll redirect this to Nathan because he's probably the best. He articulates this point really well. Nathan, why did the turbines look halfway in the water, Nathan? Just address that to James Collins, the troll that he is. He might not be listening. Although James has 5 subs, so there's 5 people out there that like him.
well, it is in the refraction zone. It is
sure.
Behind.
I'll tell you what, Al, do you want to present that thing that you had on screen and address it to James?
Oh yeah. Let me get it again.
Just for the benefit of everybody in chat, I don't know if you noticed, but Ruhif admitted that Rumpus had told him to back off at some point in the conversation. Did you notice that?
No.
Yeah,
Rumpus, I did notice that Rumpus was messaging him.
Yeah, Rumpus told him to back off on a particular point. I can't remember which point it was now, but
yeah, a point he's probably going to lose. So did you see him keep spamming messages to him?
In other words, it's a good point we're making, and we're dwelling on it, and he has to back off on it.
Yeah. In other words, don't get involved with that because we don't want to talk about that.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, I hope he scales it and he puts his mountains a further 670 feet below the actual wind turbines in front. And that should change the perspective.
all ballers cherry pick to try and support their ball and just blatantly lie about or ignore points that prove them wrong. I couldn't agree more, John Watson. That's exactly what they do. And when we point out these things that are inconsistent, you watch, they always get obfuscated. I'm absolutely gobsmacked that one of the ballers didn't come in on purpose to derail the whole conversation. Normally that's what happens. They've run out of material again. Might as well wrap up the show, Nathan Oakley. It's not about running out of material. It's just about relaxing and resting while you guys pollute chat with nonsense about living on a ball.
What do you mean run out of material? We've got nothing. We're not run out of material.
Can't run out of material. Every photo ever taken on it is about a flat plane. Even Al cares.
I love that. You've got a guy coming in who's waiting up all night to come in to try and debunk what Ranty's presented. He's being pestered on his Skype by Rumpus, and you can see it flashing up on his screen share. And yet, apparently, we're running out of material. You know, it's like back when there was a boycott. Oh, this is getting boring. We don't want to talk about the Isle of Man anymore. It's like, no, you don't want us bashing you over the head with it, proving the Earth is flat. That's what you don't want. If you weren't interested, you wouldn't have people like the Rumpus very keen to tell the person who's on the show presenting what's what. But he is keen. Very keen. Very, Nathan, very keen.
Did you notice that halfway through, at some point, Ruhif was told by Rumpus to back off on a particular point?
Which point was it?
I can't remember which point it was, but in the back, he started laughing and he reported it to us. He said the Rumpus has told me to back off. And I don't think many people spotted it, but I spotted it.
I'll have a look on the re-up.
Yeah, it's a really key point because...
Well, I saw him on the Peak Finder. He kept spamming messages to him, I think, in Skype. And he had to keep clicking off it. And I think in the end, he actually told Rumpus to get stuffed.
Yeah, the message was, it doesn't appear on the horizon on Peak Finder.
That was it, yeah. He was spamming that.
Who was spamming it? Rumpus?
Yeah, he was spamming him, yeah.
Saying it doesn't appear on the horizon on Peak Finder?
Basically directing them. You know, like in the, you know, basically they've got, you know, all of these guys that come on, they've got people sending them messages that if they're getting stuck on a point or something like this, then they'll send them a message or a link or something like that. It's not, whoever comes in just doesn't come in on their own. So obviously you got Rumpus in the background who's directing this guy, telling him what is and what isn't. You know, if you think it's just one guy that's coming in, he might be he might come across as a little bit clever, but basically he's got 6 people behind him.
Yeah, and there has to be a fall guy in case he makes a mistake. So he's the cannon fodder. Exactly,
he's the cannon fodder for this particular object. That's why nobody else is coming in. They're letting him try and be the next troll come along, and I say he's a troll. He's not really a troll, but you know what I mean. He's the next to come in and basically try and debunk stuff.
Rumpus equals
Here's
5.
my drawing again.
Rumpus equals 5 people now. Rumpus doesn't equal 5 people. Rumpus equals manipulation and falsification of evidence. Although I have to say, I'm impressed by the angle that was found by the ballers. That was Ranty's perception or claim of the depth of the valley is not to scale, because I can see his point. His point is that if you change the depth of the valley, it changes the scale. Well, if the depth of the valley is correct, the way it's been presented, then you guys are absolutely screwed. So it's a fair point. We'll look at it. But if that scale's not inaccurate, you guys are absolutely screwed.
And Nathan, I presented my own drawing again to compare it with the graph, with an actual example of things.
Oh, by the way, Nathan, did you realise that Arwin's got the document I was outstanding? I didn't realise he had it.
Sorry, it's quite noisy. You'll have to repeat both of that, Arwin and Sleeping Warrior. I've got your image up at the moment.
Arwin has the document that I was missing that I really wanted. So
oh, brilliant. Yes, I noticed you stuck it in Skype.
Yeah,
very
yeah.
Handy. Very handy, Arwin. So you've got your image up at the moment, Arwin, if you want to... You said you were comparing it to the paper that you got?
Yeah. Well, this is basically comparing... Well, this is a drawing I made to try to explain the slant of the Earth that we get to see thanks to refraction. with some actual material like a boat in there that's partially in the vanishing zone, as it's called in the paper, that I call the refraction zone, and a part of the mountain that's hidden behind it. I drew this basically even before Riley found that paper, and this is basically what that would look like. Everything within that cone you see is in the vanishing zone. So everything you'd see there is either hidden behind the slant or it's getting blurred up.
Now, Arwin, in chat, somebody's asking, can you back up your drawing with some theory and evidence, please? Can you back that up with your evidence and theory, please, Arwin?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Evidence.
Here you go.
So basically, remember what was on screen, Dark Star?
There it is.
There is the evidence. Now, do you want to show? Is that showing where this comes from? Which paper this comes from? That MIT.
You got it. I don't remember. You got it from the library of certain university. Which one was it?
It's the MIT document that the ballers say was done by high school kids, which may well have been done by high school kids, but nonetheless is endorsed by MIT and has since been removed. When challenged, I said to them, if you don't like the document, I'm sure they'll remove it if you write and complain to them. And sure enough, the next day or the day after, it was suddenly gone offline.
Oh my God, that is so...
Yeah, this document doesn't exist online anymore, and it's in that a study of atmospheric refraction by a load of Chinese kids. Wei Fe, Tizhin, Hon Lim, To Chun, stated 2012, August 13th, 2012. There's the guys' names. Now, to be honest, right, look underneath. Go down a little bit. It says SKH Lam Wu Memorial Secondary School. Now, when you go through this document, there is more detail in this document than anything that I've ever seen in secondary school on physics to do with observations in terrestrial Earth. This is not, to me, I don't think this is secondary school level documentation. This is clearly degree level, at least in my opinion. I know it says secondary school. It might be in memorial. It might be in acknowledgement of or whatever, but this is definitely not high school level physics. This is clearly written in such a way by non-English speaking natives as well. I mean, these guys aren't obviously, they may speak English to a point, but the quality of grammar in here is better than it's better than most English people, let alone high school or secondary school level students. But nonetheless, this is where it comes from. And this document doesn't exist online anymore. And I've emailed them twice to ask for an explanation for why it was removed, and I've not had a response. So
practicing quantum physicist. So Philip came on, who claims to be a I don't know how to describe his job title exactly, but he said he was working with the D-Wave computer. It's a quantum physicist, and he said he'd gone through the paper and couldn't find anything wrong with it.
Yeah, it now doesn't exist online. You're not able to download this and read it. It's been removed, and if that's not censorship, I don't know what is.
Just to add that Philip also thinks he lives on a sphere, so you have to take everything he says with a pinch of salt, of course.
Right, and Geo Strieber, a German national, claims that the language skills are not an argument. I would have been able to write this well when I was 18. That's rubbish, because most English people can't even write with this level of grammar, correct grammar, even if it's proofread.
18 is above secondary age, though, isn't it? A German national
at the age of 18 cannot write at this level of high school standard paper. This is nonsense.
The high school level is 16, though, isn't it? Or is that just this country?
Pardon?
18 is above high school. It says secondary school, specifically secondary school. Well, 18, if Geo Strieber is saying he could write this at 18 years of age, well, that's beyond secondary age.
Yeah. To argue that this is like not a good point is nonsense, because no kids that are outside of the UK that are clearly either Korean or Chinese or Japanese or whatever they are, the Far East, they are not going to be able to write in a grammatically fantastic way. And it must have been proofread by someone. And the standard of work in here is high. This is not high school level science. This is beyond high school. And it makes me question the source of it, if I'm honest. But nonetheless, the science that's in it is still good.
Well,
so
the guy probably, or the people that wrote this probably had help from parents and teachers, and they couldn't have just done this all on their own completely. They must have had some help, of course. Like,
just the layout of it as well, or the credible layout of it is too good for high school. I mean, I remember being in high school and we were just about word processing, let alone doing this kind of production. This is not. I think it's in dedication to a high school or something like that, because I don't think it's definitely not high school kids that are doing this. I mean, look at the level of maths in this now when we go into the pages of the math.
yeah,
I mean,
this is way above my mathematical comprehension.
But anyway, in any event, this is where the evidence comes from. There is a vanishing point. The light does seem to bend around it, and we can't see beyond a certain point, which you guys claim is curvature. Yeah, you can't prove is curvature, but we can prove in science that there is a vanishing point because there is citations for it that appears to be credible. Does not appear to be wrong. So if anybody can prove that this is incorrect, show the curve.
Oof. Well, the people that made this certainly knew their math.
Oh, but there's a message there from Darkstar. You can't explain the graph, can you, Sleeping Warrior? Can you go to the graph, whatever graph he's on about?
You mean the red one?
Don't know. Is it that one there? You just gone past one?
What, this?
Temperature profile?
No,
I don't think that'll be the one.
This is another one.
That's not a graph.
Typical inferior mirage. How it looks.
I don't think that's the one he's on
No,
about.
you mean the one with the red.
Go up to the top, or towards the top. I think there's a
one?
graph. Is that the one he's on about? I think that's what he's referring to. Not sure which graph you're referring to, but I'm assuming that it's this one. It's self-evident what that explanation is. I don't feel the need to explain that. It's blatantly obvious. I prefer the graph that's on page 11. Go up to page 11. Now this one, look, if you scroll down a little bit, it says from the graph it is clear that refraction is not very significant in such atmosphere, since the graph becomes flat very quickly. We need to develop other nonsense models in which refraction is more significant. They basically falsify the globe. That's what they've got to do. That's basically what that's saying. We need to develop other atmospheric models of nonsense to make people think we live on a ball when clearly it's flat as a pancake.
Yeah, it seems that refraction it doesn't keep on bending. It just causes this lens effect, this point where things get bent, and then it continues on in a straight line. And our observations prove this.
Huey Rolfe says it's a secondary school in Hong Kong. Just Google it, Riley. Sure. But what I'm saying is that's that age, whatever age these children are, this is clearly not of that age. This is clearly of an age that's beyond high school children. So I don't think it's claiming. I can't see this being high school kids that have done this. Makes no logical makes no logical or reasonable sense to conclude that this is done by high school kids. James Collins, Sleeping Warrior, you are dumb. Just because you are the dumbest guy in the planet, you are not Kim Jong-il. We don't have to pretend you are.
Well, I don't think Kim Jong-il is really that smart even. So just has a very big ego.
Kim Jong-un now.
Got a new name, Anthony. He's busy. So how does it feel to be compared to Kim Jong-un?
I've been compared to worse. Dark Star, it's good that you're looking for academic research related to your theory, but I would be reprimanded for citing a paper I didn't fully understand. So what's your excuse for Rumpus falsifying and manipulating evidence to support a narrative when he's got no reason to do it based in physics or otherwise, Dark Star? Yet nobody challenged him for doing that. Yet everybody knows that that's wrong. Is that just acceptable because it's the Rumpus? Seems a bit of hypocritical to me, that dark star.
It is a bit sad though that they did actually remove the paper. It would be kind of cool to find the guys that made it.
Arwin, they actually removed 2 papers. They removed the other paper that Mick West quoted to me, the one that I always cite, claiming that it's clear that the effects of refraction are negligible in a standard atmosphere. That paper also went. So the 2 pieces, the 2 papers that I cite against this nonsense that the curve of the Earth is negated by this standard refraction baloney, both the papers have been removed. When I challenged, and get this, it was when I challenged, who was it now? I can't remember who it was. It was, M. Scott Veach. When I challenged M. Scott Veach, then they went missing. Go figure. Both of them. What's the chances of 2 papers? One that was dated in 2002, I believe, and the other one was 2006. No, one was August 13th, 2012. That was the high school one. And the other one was dated 2006, May 2006. And I have had an email from the guy that wrote the paper, from a guy called Diego Gutierrez. That's the one that cites refraction to be negligible. I did get an email response from him, and I think it was Ruhif that did it. He got a response from him. But the minute Ruhif said that he thinks that I think the Earth may be flat or may not be a ball, or however he worded it, Diego Gutierrez, the writer of the other document that says that refraction is negligible, then suddenly stopped speaking to us. Go figure. Yeah.
You shall not talk about this stuff.
No. So Diego Gutierrez, if you are listening, you're a worm. You wrote a paper that we wanted to discuss with you the meaning of the word negligible in the context in which you used it, and then you suddenly stopped speaking to us. Really? It's like that, isn't it, Gutierrez? We're citing your work. Why would you not take questions from us?
Well, probably because he had dire warning of the his superiors in the science community, or teachers, or whatever.
Yeah.
Not to continue. So I wouldn't make it personal in that sense.
Oh, no, I'm not making it personal. I just realised that the minute we said the Earth may not...
You called him a worm. Come on.
Yeah,
Like,
he's worming. Worm as an adjective, not as a noun. Worm is you're worming out of it. The minute we said we thought the Earth might not be a ball, stop speaking to us.
Well saved.
What do you mean?
Oh, you turned it into an adjective, which is cool.
Yeah, he's worming out of it. The guy was in email contact with us, right? Until we said we thought the Earth might not be a ball, and then radio silence. MIT, when I emailed them twice to ask why were the 2 documents at a site removed, no response. The fact that they were removed in the first place, I mean, come on, these are the 2 documents that I cite frequently, and they were removed. Why would that be? If that's not suppression, I don't know what is.
About 5 minutes left.
It seems to be a sign of basically the scientism priesthood.
Yeah, absolutely. Ranty, have you
forbidding to enter this debate?
Ranty, have you presented your latest observation? I might have missed it.
Yeah, I only showed the video. I'm working on a composite that I took with, I think it's probably about 25, 30 images. So I should have that finished in about 15 minutes.
Right, I'm going to respond to this guy. Archaeopter X says, refraction is negligible when viewing islands, but when triangulating stars, refraction is all over the place. Riley, you're a prick. All right, Nathan, share my screen, if you would. I know we've only got a couple of minutes, so I'll be brief.
Yep, you're up.
Right, so if we go to the nonsense calculator, I can't even be bothered. Mick West on the Metabunk website, he cites the refraction as the stars, right? He cites the stars to prove refraction, right? Now, aside from the fact that we don't look at extraterrestrial objects when we're doing terrestrial observations, that claim of stars is the thing that is cited by Mick West. Now, watch this. Refraction on stars. Oops. Stop it. The one that I'm looking for was... can't remember which video it was. I may not be able to make this point. I'll have to come back with it because I can't remember which file it was in. And I was going to show what the effect of refraction on stars is, and basically, I can't find it. All right, I'll have to come back with it when I find it. Stop it.
So will we be doing a presentation later, Auntie?
Probably tomorrow.
Tomorrow, fair enough.
Yeah, I'll do it on the show.
Cool. Bet you're well chuffed that Arwen still got that document.
Hell yes. Arwen, the one thing that you've contributed for me personally the most is having that document. Because I didn't have it. I had the cached file of it, but it was only the text. It didn't have all the pictures that go with it. And that's not really... And it's in HTML format as well. It wasn't in the PDF that I sent it to you in, and I forgot to send it to you. So you are an absolute beast.
Well, yeah, you're welcome. I thought it was a pretty precious file and expected that it was probably going to get removed, so I quickly made a copy.
Yeah, that's exactly the kind of thing that we need to do, because they are actively suppressing information out there that we can use against them to show that the Earth is not a ball. And
if you really want to hold on to it, then I suggest you also put it on a CD. Write it down on a writable CD and store it somewhere.
Yep. Don't worry, I'll be backing it up. So basically, we can conclude today's show by saying that the counter to Ranty's observation is that the valley wasn't deep enough. What a load of baloney.
Other way around.
Oh, it was too deep.
Yeah.
So the valley was too deep. So we need that song. Ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough to make this a ball.
And with that, I think I'll say first and foremost a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate. If you've not done so already, be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley and I will see you all in the next video.